Hey guys, Lee G. Turley here from EdisonEquation.com. I am so honored and humbled to have been asked by JJ Rosen, who did an interview with us a couple weeks ago. Y'all can check that out on the website EdisonEquation.com if you want to, or if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, I'm really humbled to have been asked to come and share some thoughts with y'all. Because I'm usually the one asking the questions. I don't really, I guess if I considered myself worthy enough to share the wisdom, I would have just done this the entire time instead of, interviewing folks. So, yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for having me on. So, on that note, I kind of was like, I don't know how much I necessarily have to share other than the fact that there's kind of just a little red flag that's been going up in my eye lately in doing these interviews, and it has to do with this kind of mantra or slogan that a lot of entrepreneurs have been using of fail early and often. And just by the nature of a slogan and at face value, how slogans are generally taken at face value, I don't necessarily totally agree with this slogan, which is a shame because once I dive into it, I'm going to kind of dissect it in a moment. I totally agree with it, but just at face value, I don't agree with it. I mean, fail early and often. Why would I want to fail often? I have no idea why anyone would want to fail often. I have no idea why that was even put in there. I mean, sure, the fail early, I can get that. Even just the implicit meaning of that, I can kind of understand it. But I mean, I'm going to revise my slogan to if I had to have one, which I don't think there's any room in failure for a slogan, because it's so pivotal when talking on the subject matter, that you just take you really. I mean, man, this is so hard for especially for people that are trying to get out there and innovate things and create and just hustle, if you will. It's so hard to just kind of take the time and really think about soul searching, I guess, if you want to call it that, or the philosophical side of things, the heady matter, and really sit down and just take time, because it takes time to sit down and say, how am I really defining failure? How am I defining success? And what does that mean in respects of what I'm trying to accomplish and the ups and downs of the roller coaster of doing anything on your own? You really have got to take that time to do that. So that's why that elaboration is so, present and so needed on a topic like failure, that I don't think there's any place for a slogan or a mantra or some like little liner, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, kind of a thing. Well, yeah, but I don't want to come close to death, if preferably. But when you dive into these things, they're awesome. So I'm totally saying that if we have to have a slogan, let's revise it to fail early, not often. And please, please let this be easy. No, that definitely not. Please let this be easy, because we really want to. Like I said, when you get into these things, you can't expect this stuff to be easy or hard or not hard, or just come, because really, what kind of person would you be at the end of that journey if everything just came to you? If you didn't have to work for anything. I don't think that we wouldn't be any better people at the end of the day, which is really what it's all about. Just being here isn't on the planet. I really don't see the point if we're just here to make a living and walk through it and not try to grow any. So I guess that's just a little personal opinion from me, but yeah. So if you dive into these things like fail early and often, or what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, um, you really start to look at the reality um, of the grit and desire needed to to accomplish something on your own, and I love that. I just don't think it needs to be in slogan form. Um, but if you dissect it, and I just want to, I want to start with the early part. If you think about failing early, it, I mean, it's something that is so important and not an early lesson that entrepreneurs learn. Um, so, I mean, you really, really try to think about it and really try to digest this part because it's something that I did not learn the easy way. I definitely wish someone had kind of beat this into me a little bit because I had to. I threw something out there that I tried to put together and it didn't work. And or I didn't work really. I was the one that was the flaw factor in it because of this. But uh, when you fail, when you don't fail early, it usually is like it kind of takes two forms, and really they're kind of the same form. One being that you're all to use another little mantra, you're all talk and no walk. You're just thinking and brainstorming and the idea guy, and you never pull the trigger on anything, or you're just on to the next thing all like really quickly and just cycling through all of these ideas, and you just don't you don't go for anything. And then the other form that it takes is the one that I fell prone to, and that was perfecting something to just an unrealistic sense because perfection just absolute does not exist in at all. I mean, in our world, perfection does not exist, which is something that I and many entrepreneurs really struggle with. But that's the fact of the matter. And when we try to perfect something so much, we end up putting it out there without getting any kind of feedback, and it goes tails up. That being said, a lot of the times once you perfect things, and this is important because this is what happened to me for the most part, is when you perfect something and you spend so much time in your little closed off room, tinkering with this widget and making it shiny, and by that time you're so attached that you have no feedback at this point, and you get to the brink of putting it out there, and you're so afraid that you don't know what's going to happen, and you're so attached to this little what you think is your perfect little form, or what you've tried to make your perfect little widget, that you never even pull the trigger on it, and that's terrible. That's a detriment. I mean, that's not a place that you ever want to be. So failing early really implies that you just get it out there. I mean, seriously, I don't care what you're working on. I don't care how cool it is. If you're a new entrepreneur, this is a new project. And it's small fry. I mean, at the beginning, I mean, nobody's going to steal your idea. Everybody's got that are wanting to work on ideas. They have their own ideas. They don't need to steal yours. Nobody out there, none of the big fish out there are looking to poach small fish until they start gaining some traction. And I mean, so it just doesn't matter. You have to get it out there. You've just got to get that pivotal feedback from the people that are going to be using whatever it is you're working on, because they're the ones that are going to tell you what is going to work and what isn't going to work, and you're not going to fall flat on your face, and you're just going to start, you're going to be able to understand what to add and what to take away. So after you do your due diligence and after you put together your core, awesomeness, just throw it out there. See what happens. I mean, if it flops at that point, great, because now you know that you don't have to waste any of your time on that anymore, because it's not going to work. Everything that you think of or come up with, everything that I think of and I come up with, it's not going to work. That's really the whole thing behind Edison equation. Thomas Edison. I mean, how many his renowned for all the things that didn't work, but he was still a great inventor and a great man from the few things that did. They just in the grand scheme outweighed the things that didn't work, because he got it out there early, and he minimized his risk by getting it out there early, and that's really what it's all about. You have to, because risk is so real and it's never going away and there's no way we're going to avoid it, you have to minimize it. You have to be proactive about it. So get it out there early. Just throw it out there. I don't care. Stop. I mean, the fear, it sucks. It could fail. You could mess up, but you're not a failure because you've done that, because something didn't work, because whatever, you tried it and it just didn't work. It was just, that's all it was. It was just something. It was the wrong answer to the equation. You go back and you come up with another answer to the equation. You keep doing that until you get the right answer. That's what this is. That's what not failing is about. It's not getting it right on the first time. So, anyways, to the second part, the part that I'm not so not so fond of, the failing often. If you dive into that, if you know, kind of just swim around in that a little bit, it's I mean, it goes hand in hand with the early, because it has a lot to do with quick and small, keeping your failures quick and small. And you really do that by creating small goals for yourself in whatever you're working on. And the smaller you create your goals, the smaller you're going to keep your failures, because when you don't hit those goals, that's going to mean those are going to be your failures, essentially, or your mistakes. I'm not going to get into, you know, mistake and failure in the line there, because everybody's going to define that differently. And you really, I really want to implore you to take the time to define that for yourself, because it's going to make a huge difference in the mental journey and battle that you're going to be going through as you're creating things on your own, as you're stepping out there and you know, and sacrificing and going after it. Which, please do that. We need you to do that. If you've got something in your head that is, you know, you're excited about and you're passionate about, get it out there. We need your ideas. We need you to be out there. We need people to be sharing themselves and how they think that they can make the world a better place. So you've got to do that, but you've got to be proactive, because we want to minimize that risk. You know, to be realistic, because we need things to outweigh. We need success to outweigh failure in whatever respects that you define those two things. So making it quick and small is the kind of the definition of getting it out there often, or failing often, and it just walks hand in hand with the early. You can't really have one without the other, and that's kind of the meat behind this. So, and that, from my understanding at least, that's kind of how I've perceived it, and I've continued to try to dissect that and understand it more, because it's kind of a quandary. And like I said, I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail often, per se, in the respects of how I define failure. You know, but I do want to have lots of. I want to keep my failures small. I want to have lots of small failures, and I want to go to market as early as possible and get as much feedback as possible early on, to, again, enable myself to keep failures small and, you know, I guess, survive. So we're taking like small little pinholes in the side of our ship rather than cannonball-sized holes in the side of our ship. And we stay afloat and long enough to develop our full idea and find our way and pivot our way to the right answer to the equation. And yeah, so that's my two thoughts. I hope that's helpful. I hope that that's worthy of Digital Nashville space. And again, I thank you so much for taking the time to listen to what I had to say and invite me on Digital Nashville. And JJ, I hope you all have a great day. See ya. Bye.